creating that foundation and that household of health, like you said, like you
Yeah,
like to say. I love that
I do.
because it's, yeah, well, I remember, I watch your stuff. So,
I love it.
I love it because that is really what it is. It starts with us, and it
Mhm.
starts at that foundation and at the family. It starts at your home.
Hey, friends. So, if you have been enjoying our chats here on the Noble and Nourished podcast, I need a quick favor, and that it is going to make a huge impact. So, if you could just take a moment to like, rate, and review the show, I would be so grateful. And here's why that matters, because your ratings and reviews help other amazing women just like you find the show. And it's an easy way to grow our community of strong, health-focused mamas who are all about ditching diets and living life with purpose for generations to come. So whether you're squeezing this episode in between kid drop-offs or listening while you're actually getting a workout in, go ahead and hit that 5-star rating and leave a quick review. And it just takes less than 30 seconds. And it really helps us bring you more of the content you already love.
Right. Well, I'm Cierra. We've been connecting on Facebook for a couple of years. And we actually were in a mastermind together back in like 2021. So we've been in each other's like social space for a hot second. And every single time that you post something, I'm like, this girl freaking gets it. And so I'm excited to connect today, and I'm really pumped to have you on the show. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's kind of start with a quick rundown of like your story, what you do. I know you're in Florida, so you're like a Southerner, kind of like us over here in Texas, right? And so tell me a little bit. And
Yeah.
hey, side note, I saw that you guys do hockey in Florida.
Yeah.
Like your kids,
Yes.
it made me giggle, but just give me your story. Tell me a little bit about you.
So yeah, I'm born and raised in Florida, out of Orlando, and I grew up playing sports my whole life. So health and fitness has always been a huge part of who I am, and it's kind of stayed with me throughout my years growing up. And then into becoming a mother and having kids, I wanted to pass that down to my kids. And so now they enjoy sports and staying active and teaching them about health and fitness. That's really important to me. So yeah, so I have a huge background in nutrition, fitness. I was a strength and conditioning coach years ago growing up. I've been training athletes and mothers, men, all different population really, but I like to specialize in right now currently in helping mothers and live a healthy lifestyle and develop those healthy habits in their everyday routine while with their busy schedule and being able to maintain that. And so I do a lot of that, and I'm also a birth and postpartum doula too. So I help women give birth, and I'm a labor coach, and I also support them, emotionally and physically throughout their labors. Really, it's really helpful to have that extra support person and that reassurance throughout their journey in pregnancy and birth. So that's been really rewarding in my journey through my life this far. But yeah, I love talking about all things health and nutrition and getting our kids the healthiest they can be, because it starts from there in generational health. So yeah, I felt like we connected a lot in that area.
That's so fun. That's so fun. So okay, so
Yeah.
how old are your kids? You've got 2 kids. How old are they?
Yeah, I have 2 young kids. So I have an 8-year-old boy, Ryder, and I have a 3-year-old girl, Everly. They like hockey, they like soccer, cheerleading. My little one's getting into that now, so they're very active, and they're very happy kids.
That's
Very
so fun.
healthy too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fun. Okay, so tell me what got you, like, okay, I've heard you say like been in sports for a long time, grew up with it, started training. Like what kind of got you from coaching more of like a one-on-one style to kind of moving more organically into the online, into the like actual coaching versus like, hey, we're going to do this like physical thing, right? Like I'm going to train you. What kind of shifted there and got you more into that direction of like this
Yeah.
coach walk alongside of you direction?
Yeah, that's a good question. I felt that, I felt like I was doing a lot to help people, in person, doing, training clients one-on-one in person and everything. But I just felt like there was so much more that they needed help with and support with, that, especially nutrition, and that I didn't have time to give them. And so when I found out about Champ Dev, when I joined the coaching program to get that extra help on my coaching journey, when I first started my business to go online, I felt like, wow, this could be it. This could be what I need to be able to reach more people around the world and be able to help more people be able to work on their health, and, just be able to do it in a small area. I can really make a bigger impact. And because health and fitness is such a passion of mine, and helping others live healthier lifestyles, I wanted to be able to take that further. And online is where it seemed like it was starting to go. Like, everyone was going online. So, and this was around COVID 2020. I had made that decision and then decided to launch my business in 2021. And I think I noticed a lot of other coaches doing the same thing, and going online as well. And I'm like, this seems like this is where the impact is, more of the outreach is. So, it's been a journey, and I've really loved it. I've learned so much from doing this, and I've really gotten, just as much as I've supported clients and they've gotten, the support and help from me, I've learned so much from them and gotten so much gratitude. And it's been so rewarding going along that journey with them. And just seeing their results, and seeing not only their mood change, but their physical, body change, emotional health, mental well-being, everything. So it's been so awesome to be able to see that and witness it, and be able to be there to support them along the way.
Yeah. So when you think like, because I know it's real easy to say, oh, physically, you're, like, lose this amount of weight, or, now you're physically looking a certain way, or you're performing a certain way. Like, when you kind of started getting into this, and hearing stories from clients, and like working with them, like, one-on-one, and like in this coaching
Yeah.
atmosphere. And was there anything you noticed about, like, more of the, like, hey, it's not just,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? Like, it's not just
Yep.
physical. It's
Yeah.
not just physical.
Oh,
And if your
yeah.
body's not responding, like, why?
Yes.
Right? And so what
Yes.
are some things that you've kind of experienced, or maybe just from that shift of being the, like where you're physically working as a coach, and then you move into this more route of, like, hey, we've got sleep, like mental health, root causes. Like, there is so much to kind of unpack when it comes to our health. And so question would be, like, when you started making that shift, what were some of the things that you noticed in, like, a person's well-being, like, from the start, when you kind of had these conversations?
Yeah, there was a lot of mindset work I felt like that needed to be done, and helped with the clients that I have. As I had, each different client, they all need specific things, right? So it's not one size fits all. There's certain things they needed support more on than others, right? But it's not just about the physical, like you said. It's what they have going on in their life. Like that, sometimes I would just let them talk to me, and vent, and just like share whatever was going on in the moment. And we would just spend our time breaking that down, in ways they can navigate that. Because if you're not okay mentally, you're not going to be able to perform physically, right? And a lot of how we feel and look, it has to do with our mental state too, right? And how we talk to ourselves. And that's why in my program, I really stress mindset, and how that's like the thing that's missed a lot, when someone does join a program, right? Or like a 12-week, get fit quick or whatever, right? You see those things online that you can buy, but a lot of people don't understand about that, is that that's just going to fix the physical portion of you. I like to work on not only the physical, but the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. We talk about everything, we work on all areas. I believe health is a full circle. So it's not just physical. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong, right? And they just, oh, if I just eat better, or if I just go work out an extra day, or then I'll get the body or I want, or I'll be able to be happy again. But then they find that that's not true, right? That they don't find that happiness. And it's because they miss that emotional side, that the mental side of things. They weren't strong, they didn't work on their mental strength. So I really love to work on that with the clients I have. It's a huge part of my program, and it's amazing the transformation that happens. I mean, from habits, to lifestyle, routine, everything, because it really is everything, slips
Yeah.
through the cracks that if you don't pay attention to that, right?
Yeah. Well, when
And
you mentioned, oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, a lot of it too is stress level. Like you said, sleep, stress. Like, is your nervous system regulated day to day? Are you running around constantly and not doing enough self-care? Self-care is a big thing, right? That a lot of moms, we're so busy so much that we forget about ourselves, but we have to make ourselves a priority in order to show up for everyone else in our life, right?
So when you
Yeah.
think, okay, because there's 2 points there. Number one, I want to come back to the topic around like the motherhood side, because I know I want to revisit that. But before we do, I want to talk to you. I want to hear your kind of aspect or your thought process, your philosophies around like our diet culture right now and what you have seen over the last couple of years when it comes to diet culture and what your views are with diet culture.
Yeah, that's another huge topic, I'd say, that a lot of women struggle with. Body image, always trying to, be skinnier or look better, right? And just fighting the yo-yo diets. So I see a lot of people, even on my social media, even friends, they'll be on a certain diet, or I'm not doing this, and completely restrict themselves and cut out a food group or cut out, something, right? And then you see them make progress. Obviously, if you're gonna cut out processed foods, you're gonna have some change, right? You're gonna see some progress. But what tends to happen, because you were so restrictive, as soon as they get off it, right, they gain all that weight back and then some, and then feel even worse, right? I'm really anti diet culture. I don't think that that's the key to success or the key to happiness in your life, and especially health. I don't think that's so stressful to your body and your nervous system. You're wreaking havoc on not only your nervous system, but your gut. You're disrupting, your hormones. That's going to be, especially for women, when we try to, I think fasting is good, but in certain, circumstances. But women, when we tend to restrict our bodies of food, because women are very different than men, right? Our endocrine system starts to shut down. Our thyroid gets messed up, and disrupted. We start having all these gut issues and stomach issues. And I know there's been a lot of talk lately about Ozempic, and that's a whole nother thing. And,
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I'm definitely not for Ozempic. And I've seen women get on that recently, and it's just, there's so many side effects, and the everyone should know the risk versus the benefits of something, right? Before you do it.
Yes.
And
Well, and I
so that you
think
can
like
make an
what's
informed
hard
choice.
for sure. And I think what's hard and what we kind of struggle with, one is a culture in general, like American society. Everything is so quick. You get results so fast. Like I could go
Quick
to,
fix.
yeah. And we're used to getting information and seeing results quickly in a lot of other spaces. And so when it
Yes.
comes to our health, our body and wanting to see results, we think that by implementing fast stuff that it's going to be like, it's going to fix all the things. When in reality, like, as you mentioned a second ago, like you do these diets and you go on these yo-yo diets, and I have a whole slew of resources personally for clients or whoever, like in that space. But like, it's all a lot of like coming back to this whole mindset thing. Like people are struggling mindset wise because they have this relationship with food. Then they have this like poor understanding of food. Then you have this like poor body image of like how you view your body, how like how you think your body should be feeling or should be looking. And so then it like creates like kind of what you said a second ago, like this whole circle of
vicious Yeah. They just,
Yes. And then each one of those things are not in support of each other. So it's kind of like this whole like mosh podge of like rotation of poor, like again, the mindset, right? Like it's poor mindset around a lot of different topics. And then we come over here and we do this quick fix thing that we think is going to fix all
mm-hmm.
the issues, but then we didn't
Yep.
even get to the
Without working
real
on them.
root. Yeah. The root issue on
Yeah.
why are we struggling with weight? Why are we struggling with, whether that be obesity, or why do we struggle with like eating X amount of food? Like let's start with some of those conversations instead of like going into this, like, I'm going to just follow this quick fix thing and go on this
Yeah.
whole like all or nothing mentality.
Yes. Which
But I'm
I'm
like, wait,
totally not for.
I'm there and I know we align that. So like, I'm like, quit doing all or nothing. Like it's like, that's not life. Like that's not
That's
even
not how
going to
real
like,
life is. No.
no, because I'm sorry, you're going to be put into a position where you're at a birthday party and you're going to want a piece of cake or you're
Yep.
going to want that
Yeah.
ice cream.
So yeah. Yeah. And and that's okay in small doses but you're definitely, but I like to use the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're living your life 80%, you're making the healthier choices. You're even when you're out to eat, there's always a healthier option you can make, right? And that leaves room for 20% of, still enjoying yourself, having a balance, like, at a birthday party, having a slice of cake if you'd like, but don't think that you might not feel sick after, right? I mean, that's just, it's all about choices, right? Because that's gonna, when you take away those processed foods and those, in those inflammatory foods, when you put that back, your body's gonna say, what the heck did you just put in
What?
me? Yeah, get that
I
out.
know.
So
I know. Well, my
yeah,
husband,
it
it's so
happened
funny
to
because
me. So
me too. Me too, because we
yeah,
eat like in our home,
yes,
like there's a lot of things the things that we consume. And again,
yes,
like
yeah,
me and my husband we're again night and day humans. God put us together and now we're like night and day trying to like do life together. And
yeah,
as I've like educated myself in concerns to nutrition and concerns to the type of foods and concerns to ingredients, and I dove in like
mm-hmm,
about 6 years ago and I was like, and I'm one of those, I'm like, hey, I make a decision, like this is the route I'm going. And I don't make those decisions lightly. Like those decisions
yes,
are made from long term. Like, what do I want to do long term? What do I want to do? How is this going to affect us like in the long run? Right. And so these decisions I make, and that's why, when I chose to do no more over the counter medications in my home, I
yeah,
went full on homeopathic route and
yeah, that's
decision was
great.
made. Now this is how we do life. You know what I'm saying? But like
Yeah,
kind of backtracking here, I don't think it has to happen like so fast. You know what I mean? Like it
mm-hmm,
can be a
yeah.
progressive thing,
I
but
think that's
also like when
honestly
you start
healthier
making,
to do that.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
And
It's a little bit
mindset
easier
wise,
to,
yeah. Mental wise, it's
to,
easier to accept and understand. And also like, it doesn't, like we always say, as coaches, it's not going to be a quick transformation to change a habit. It takes like at least 60 days, right? So, and then to change your identity, it's a couple years. So if you want to change your lifestyle, your habits, you got to work on them a couple at a time. You can't take it all on at once. That's very overwhelming. And that's why a lot of people quit with these fad diets because they do it all at once. And then they're like, I can't keep this up. This is too much. And then they end up just falling off, the whole New Year's resolution thing that people do.
oh yeah,
And
for sure, for sure.
if people knew there was a better way, not listening so much to like back to society, what, you see on TV or this pill, that pill, quick fix. Oh, this diet works. I did this one. If people would just, focus on like the tortoise and the moving slower is honestly better because if you want long-term health, that's what it takes. It takes those little habits that no one is watching you do every day. Having a good bedtime routine at night, lowering your stress throughout the day, making sure you're shopping at the grocery store, and trying to choose organic foods if you can, and cutting out the pesticides that are in your diet and the harmful chemicals and dyes. All of that makes a difference in your health. If people were more
Yeah.
educated on how to read a food label or how to shop in a grocery store,
Dude,
right?
don't even,
But that's
yes.
what we help, people with. So, but I wish that there was, a way for more people to understand overall just a general health, and that's something that our society doesn't teach on, right? So they just teach, oh, if you're sick, go to this doctor. They'll give you this pill and you'll be fine, right? Just Band-Aids to fix the issues.
Yeah.
So, but then you end up with
Yeah,
more
Band-Aids
problems.
instead of,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it
Yeah.
creates a whole like ripple effect because you're Band-Aiding the issue
Yep.
and you're not actually getting to what's going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You're
Like
not
it's,
treating, you're
yeah,
not
for
treating
sure.
the root cause of your chronic issue that you're having.
For sure. For sure. So what are some things like, okay, so we're both moms, right? We also work with moms. So what are
Yeah.
some of the things that you feel you have done with your children, conversations with your children, you feel has been a shift maybe from like early motherhood? Cause your oldest is, 8. And so
Yeah.
what are some like things that you've kind of shifted and kind of grown into over the last, couple of years and how it's changed from when you kind of originally brand new, right? Like what are
Yeah. Yeah.
some of the progressive things that you've done?
Oh yeah, man, it's been so much change, so much growth. I mean, the amount of knowledge I know now versus then is so much. I mean, the saying, like, I wish I knew then what I know now because I would have done differently, right? I would have done a lot differently. There were some things that I was already educating myself on it when I was pregnant with my first, but there was so much I didn't even touch the surface with yet. I mean, when it comes to our food. And I would have, back then I didn't realize, I thought I was shopping healthy, right? I thought I was making, fruits, veggies, protein, all that stuff, cause I grew up as an athlete. So I knew what you needed to eat, the fueling foods, like things like that. But, you know, learning in the last few years what some of those foods, how they make you feel, what they do to you. I was still eating, quite a bit of processed things during that time, like, chips, things like that, like, little things, but ice cream, desserts, things that you just don't think, oh, I'm fine. This isn't going to do anything to me. Right. But also not realizing, okay, my kids are seeing these habits, right? And they're seeing how we're eating. So that's going to ripple effect down and that's going to become how they eat and what habits they choose. So I need to be more aware and conscious of what I'm doing daily and start making a conscious effort to choose the healthier option and educate myself on the ingredients and cutting out, the high fructose corn syrup and not buying so much processed food, shopping differently, making those better choices. And also as I started to gain more knowledge and nutrition and got my nutrition certification and I was training clients at the time and in fitness and I was learning constantly. I was constantly reading, constantly trying to grow my knowledge and ended up, being able to learn so much more in the last 5 years. It's been so great because I'm able to help my children more and educate them and teach them, hey, um, you could have this piece of fruit or you could have the juice instead, but what would be the healthier choice? It would be the fruit, right? Because that's most natural to its source, right? Rather than the juice. So just simple things like that. While we're eating dinner, we talk about things. We talk about this type of food does this for your body. And just the importance of hydration and water and why is soda is like a no-no in my house. We don't drink soda or really my kids just basically drink water for the most part. Occasionally they might have a little bit of juice here and there, but just talking to them and help educating them. Now my son, he goes to school and he helps other kids. So he comes home and says,
I
Mom,
know.
some of these kids have chips and they have all these like chocolate candy and bars and bad food. Not great food. And I told him like that's not good for you. And I'm proud of you, Ryder. I'm proud, like, good job. So, but
That is so
he's
fun. Well,
healthy.
and it's so
Yeah,
fun to hear like when they actually consume what you've been laying as a foundation, right? Like when you
yeah,
actually have like I love how you mentioned we have conversations during meal times because
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of the education can happen and where they're able to be like, oh, I physically can see the
Yes.
food and we're now discussing it. So now we're doing a lot of all of their senses and we're bringing it all
Mm-hmm.
together. And then it actually lands to where he's now being an advocate for healthy eating and making better
Yeah.
choices and helping educate his friends. Right. And so that is
Yes.
super cool
Yeah.
to see kind of how that ripple effect happens and
Yeah.
in like full on capacity. So, okay, I'm going to bring up a story because you mentioned like chips being and I
Yes.
just want, and the reason I'm going to bring the story up is because I want to kind of start a conversation around it and some thoughts.
Okay.
So, actually, a year ago, I personally made a post how at the start of the school year, when I walked into, so backstory, my husband does a lot of our shopping. Like I add it to the list, he goes to the grocery store. Like that's just our dynamic in our home. But I had to go for something. I don't remember what I was picking up. And I go to the grocery store and there's like aisles, right? Like everything is lined up and it's overstock because school's starting.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I am over, like, personally, this thing came over me where I was just like, I was sad. I was sick to my stomach. I was frustrated. I was
Yeah.
angry. I was like having all of these emotions because I care deeply, like, as a coach, as a mom, like,
Yeah.
as someone, like, as an influence, right? Like, I want to
Mm-hmm.
make an impact, right? And so you think about these things, and I walking down the aisles and I saw all these like variety pack chip boxes, like,
Yeah.
not even in the chip
Yeah.
aisle and they were stacked up like absolutely crazy. Okay. So that's a visual of what was happening. So I made a post and you might remember this because I know we've been friends for a long time.
Yep. I
So I made a
probably.
post about how it made me, I think it said like sick to my stomach seeing all the variety packs or something like this. So my
Yeah.
question is let me step back. So when I made the post, I had hundreds of comments, and the comments were kind of there was full on this one side, and then there's full on this other side. And so I want to kind of like discuss the conversation around one, there was this like, I can't afford healthy food
Mm-hmm.
and chips are easy, healthy food. Then they were like, well, calories are calories. Then there were some stating that chips are just easy. And it was like super quick and easy to grab chips because if they're going to get 200 calories, they'll get 200 calories. Okay. And then there was this whole like quit shaming women on the type of food that they're buying. Right. So then there was a whole like fear, you're shaming people, like this whole thing, right? This whole one side. Then there's this whole other side where a lot of women who have put in the work, like you mentioned, like I'm really trying to make an impact on my kids and making sure they're fueled properly and making sure they have like the proper nutrition and understanding of these foods. And so my question to you, like what, like, I don't know, like, let's talk about it. Let's, cause you mentioned chips, right? And so like, of course
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of slew of million chips, but like thoughts here. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely remember before school started, I remember seeing those chips on all aisles. They were on the side. I remember I'm like, oh, and I personally can't stand those chips because, parents will get them at like soccer games and stuff like that after you just worked really hard on the field and then you go eat stuff that's empty calories. It doesn't even do anything. It's not even real food. And you're putting that in your body and you're not nourishing your body. You're harming your body. It's all, we have all kinds of dyes. Oh, don't even get me started. Like the kind of
Dude, I know.
this topic like fires me up because like I know you've seen it in other countries. They banned a lot in Europe, the UK. They ban foods and chemicals that are allowed in our food, right? And especially chips, right? So they took them completely off the market. Gatorade, same thing. And Gatorade didn't used to have all those dyes in it either. It was just like a few ingredients. That was it. And now it's some concoction of that harms our kids, right? Their health. But back to the chips. There's so many chemicals and like, you know, dyes that affect kids' behavior, their neurodevelopment in their brain, their gut, and our gut brain connection. If that's off, we're not going to be able to function properly. We're coming at they're marketing to our kids and to the younger generation, creating these quick, it's almost like a quick fix kind of thing. Oh, these chips are cheaper, they're easier. Here, just grab these and give them to same concept as like a short workout program, right? Like same kind of thing. But the end result, you're not getting that true health that you're wanting. You're not, the parents may think, oh, I'm doing right. I'm doing good. I'm, giving them their calories and making sure that they're eating, because nowadays we have kids who have such bad food aversions. They can't even, they won't eat anything. And that's directly connected to your gut and, your nervous system, your heavy metals that are being bombarded on our children and us as adults that cause a lot of chronic and autoimmune diseases we see today. Eczema is out of control now. So there's a lot of childhood illnesses that are skyrocketing we're seeing today. And not only that, but just
Go ahead.
so what I was talking about when you're, some of the moms that'll say, use the excuse, well, it's too expensive. Like it's too expensive to shop healthier or shop organic. Well, you could think of it that way. It's all about perspective and mindset, the way you think about things, because our children's health and our health should be priority, should be number one in our life, right? Because if you don't have your health, you have nothing, right? So, and you could say, oh, it's too much money. I don't think I can do this long term. Okay, well, there's a couple options you can figure out your way around that. One, what are things you're spending your money on right now that are unnecessary or that are just wants and not needs, right? So if you cut those out, there's that extra money to shop healthier food, right? So it's all about priorities. And then number two, you say too much money. Well, think of it like this. Your health is number one, right? So if you're not spending time on your health right now, when you're young, whatever age you are, or especially your kids' age, how they're in their youth, they're still developing, their brains are still growing, and that time is so crucial to be nourishing your body with the proper foods. If you're not doing that now, right, and you're just eating a bunch of processed food, eating out a lot, not being thoughtful about and mindful about things you're choosing to bring into your home for your family, that's going to come up later in life, and you're going to be paying for that later. So if you're not paying for it now, you're going to definitely pay for that later. And you're going to be paying that with hospital bills, medications from your doctor visits. It's going to happen one way or the other. So in the long term, it's better to take care of your health right now and make that a priority, because you'll have long-term health for years, and you'll actually be saving money doing what you're doing, making those better choices versus in the sacrifice you're making now will reap so many benefits for true health for your family too and your children.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some conversations you kind of have around whether that's processed foods or, with your kids, like as a mom, having conversations with your kids about processed foods, about the type of food ingredients in foods? What are a couple of things that you guys use in your home to help educate them and help having that conversation?
Yeah, so over the last 2 to 3 years, I'd say we've really been focusing on that, dialing down on things we're bringing into our home. I don't bring all those. I stopped buying. That's the first tip. Stop buying those foods. You wouldn't have those options if you didn't buy it, right? Because the saying is, like, if you have those types of food in your house and you're trying to avoid it, eventually you're going to eat it, right? Even I've been at fault for that, and I'm a coach, right? I'm not perfect. No one is. And if I walk by something multiple times and I think about it and I'm like, oh, that sounds really good right now, chances are I'm probably going to eat it at the end of the day, right? But do I know that's not going to help fuel my body? Yes. Do I know that's not going to nourish my body? Sure. But the temptation is real, and that's hard to, so the first tip I'd say is, don't even bring it in your home. Don't even avoid it completely if you want to live a healthier, make better habits. And that's kind of what I teach my kids too is, when we're at the grocery store, I tell them we're organic is better than not organic, because they don't spray pesticides on their food, just educating them on how they take care of their produce and in a much more natural way rather than sitting on shelves for months and being shipped to the grocery store and you not know how long it's been there for, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
especially with meat and stuff nowadays, you have to really be careful about that stuff. So, but just going over, letting them read the food labels with me and going through the words. See, if you can't read these words, then you shouldn't be eating them. We want to do least amount of ingredients as possible, right? Like the less, the better. The closer to the source, the better.
Yeah,
And,
for
and,
sure.
and so things like that I talk to them about, and just talking to them also about how they feel after they eat that food. So if they eat something that's not so great, right? And then notice how they feel after. You feel tired, right? You feel your stomach hurts, doesn't it? It's because you ate that, right? And they're like, yeah, that's true. I don't want to eat that anymore. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes you got to learn from experience and from actually doing it and seeing how you feel. And also when they eat something like candy that make at a birthday party and then they get very hyperactive and their behavior changes, I let them know, hey, do you see why you're bouncing off the walls? It's probably from that candy you just ate 20 minutes ago, or
Yeah.
so things like that. I try to make them aware of their health and how that's how disease starts. So if we want to avoid disease and stay healthy and strong muscles and our bones and grow nice and tall and live a long life and be able to be there for our kids and our grandkids one day, this is how we have to live. And these are the choices that we have to make
Yeah.
in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
if you could bring kind of all of our whole conversation, I always tell our listeners, I'm like, hey, we want to leave here with like some action steps that they can actually implement. And I love how you shared earlier, like, don't bring the food in your home, right? Like, that's a
Yeah.
very easy, like, we do that here. And I also tell my clients that I'm like, hey, bring things in there that you want to use to nourish your body. But like, let's kind of through all the things because we covered a lot of topics today. Like, there was a lot of
Oh
things that
yeah.
we covered. And, but when you think about some action steps that are simple, that are easy to like, oh yeah, that's a great nugget. Like what are, maybe 1 to 3 topics or 1 to 3 action steps that our listeners can take from today's conversation and actually use and implement today?
Yeah. So a few action steps that are, something simple, small changes that you can make to help just create more health in your family and in your children, improve your children's health too. Like the first one, like we said, just not bringing those types of foods in your home will help tremendously improve your health and also your habits and the choices you make at home. And also another one, not limiting the amount of time you go out to eat, because we're in control of what we make at home, right? So we always know what we're putting in our own food, but when you go out to eat, you don't know if they're putting whatever they're putting in your food, you don't know. And that, they could be putting seed oils and stuff that's going to be very high inflammatory for your body. And that's going to wreak havoc on your body later on. So, you'll notice the more you eat at home, the better you're going to feel and the better your health will improve. And I know because that's what I practice daily. And we really work on that as a family, not going out to eat as much. You save money and you get healthier. It's a win-win. So
It's a win-win.
yeah, exactly. So I definitely say that's huge for your health and habits as well. And just, I'd say as for another tip you could do to make healthier choices, you know, write out a grocery list beforehand of things that healthier options that you want to get instead of going unprepared to the grocery store and kind of just grabbing this or that, or, yeah, like, or you're in a rush, and you're always more prepared. When you prepare more, you can be more effective when you're going to take action, right? So, and you more than likely will make better choices.
I love it.
So having a grocery list of healthier snack options and food options, dinner ideas,
Yeah.
lunch ideas, things like that will help set you up for success so that you can start creating that foundation in that household of health, like you said, like you like to say. I love that because it's, yeah, well, I remember I love your stuff. So,
I love it.
and I love it because that is really what it is. It starts with us, and it starts at that foundation and at the family. It starts at your home, and it branches out from there. We have to raise our kids to be able to know how to make those healthier choices and live a healthier lifestyle, stay active, not be sedentary, get sunlight, get fresh air. So things like that are all going to help full circle our health,
That's so
in
good.
improving that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we covered so many things, like so much exciting stuff. And so what are some ways that our listeners can find you and kind of connect with you?
So I have a couple social media links that I don't know if you shared, but down below, but you can find me on my Facebook page, Cierra Livingston. I share a lot of awesome info and a lot of great resources and ways to live a healthier lifestyle. And then also I have Instagram as well, Keep It by Sierra. But I think, Chase, you're linking those below, right?
Yeah, I'll
For
add them
them
in
to
the show
follow
notes
if they
below.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also have, if you're interested in checking out my doula page, I have that as well. I have an Instagram there. Really, if you're pregnant and need that extra support, I have all that support and help for you as well on that page.
So fun, so fun. Well, I appreciate, and again, I know we align in so many different like aspects, and it's been really fun to have like a full-on conversation and just dive in with a couple of big things from
Yeah.
here. But again, just thank you for being here, and I'm excited to share your story and our conversation with our listeners.
Thanks for joining me, Chase Williams, on today's episode of the Noble and Nourished podcast. And I hope today's episode has encouraged you and empowered you to take action in your fitness and nutrition journey with your walk with Jesus. Until next time, stay noble, stay nourished, and let's create a household of health.